Good day. Let me begin by presenting to you my motivation activity. For this, I'm going to present different images to my students and I'm going to ask them to analyze each picture and come up with their own story that will best interpret the images. I'm going to give them 1 minute for the activity. After that, I'm going to call 2 to 4 students to share their ideas. These are the images that I'm going to present to them. I only have 5 images. Once again, good day, students. Let me begin this. Before we proceed with our discussion, let me begin with this question. How do you usually talk with your friends and family? Yes, Stephen. Comfortably. Dayan. Happily. Stephanie. Okay, very natural. How about your speaking with your professors? With the principal? How are you going to communicate with them? Okay, with respect. You see, there's a difference when you're talking with someone you're comfortable with and with someone who has authority. Okay, now we're going to discuss about language registers. The language used will always vary depending on the audience or who, topic, what, location or where, purpose, and why. Based on observation, we tend to use different kinds of language register or language approach to each person depending on the situation. For example, when we say audience or who, the relationship we have with the person you're talking with, the addressee and the addressor. If I am your teacher and you are my student, you are more respectfully talking with me rather than when you speak with your friends. Okay, for the topic, what you wanted to imply within the conversation. The purpose on communicating, if you wanted to ask a question or you wanted to confess, you wanted to say sorry or ask something from someone, it will vary. The language register that you will use, it will vary upon that. And location or where, if it is outside the school, it is more comfortable. And if it is within the premise of the school, it is more formal. So, like what I have said, goals of communicating, what do you want to say or what do you want to imply? The communication with other people will always start with your goal on what you wanted to imply to the person you are speaking with. Here we have different language registers. We have what we call frozen, formal, consultative, casual, and intimate. Let's start with frozen. Unchanging printed language, the highest form of language register. Ma'am, it is printed. Isn't it when we say communication, we tend to speak with other people? Yes, but when we say communication, we have 2 types of communication, right? The verbal and non-verbal communication. So when we say verbal communication, it is a communication where you share words and information. May it be written or spoken. So as long as it delivers information to you, may it be spoken or written, it is considered as verbal communication. So when we say frozen, may it be a printed or being spoken, it is still a form of communication. So we have here different examples of frozen language register. We have the Holy Bible, laws and policies, the national anthem. Any other example that will fall under the frozen language register? Okay, core values, very good. The Lord's Prayer, very good. Another, preamble, okay, very good. The Constitution of the Philippines, okay, very good. Now let's proceed with the next language register, which is formal. And formal, it is a one-way communication. It is structured and very much specific in words, and it does not allow any interruptions. For examples, we have here announcements, presentations, and speeches. Okay, when we do announcements, for example, you going to pass by the hallway of your school and there's an announcement on the bulletin board, there is no interaction being done, but still it is a communication. Like what I have said, may it be written or spoken, it is still a way of communication. Announcements, what other examples that will fall under formal language register? Okay, we have commercials, advertisements, presentations. For example, business presentation. You're going to present a proposal to the investors. There is no interruption that should be allowed when you are presenting speeches. When here in the Philippines, when President Rodrigo Duterte delivering his the SONA State of the Nation address, he doesn't have any interaction with others. He may have interaction, but at the end of the his speech, he's going to entertain questions. Okay, for the next, consultative. In consultative, this is the opposite of formal. It allows interaction. It allows interruptions from other people because it is a two-way communication. Feedback is allowed. What are the examples? Okay, teacher and students communication, lawyers and the client, okay, the doctor and the patient. Another example of consultative. Okay, when someone, you're going to ask a stranger on the streets on where to go, what direction to take, it is a consultative. Another, okay, when you are in a department store, you're going to ask the sales lady of what gift you can buy, a best gift for Valentine's Day. Okay, it is a consultative. Okay, next, we have casual. In casual, colloquialism and slang words are accepted, where interruptions are very common. This is where what I'm talking about earlier. Comfortability with the people you communicate with is guaranteed. Examples, when you communicate with your family, with your friends, and with your colleagues, with your coworkers, but outside the working hours. Because when you are inside the working hours, you should still apply the work ethics and professionalism. You cannot say, for example, you're working with your bestie on the same company, you're not allowed to say, hey bestie, how's your day? No, you're not going to say that. You have still to practice professionalism within the working hours. But when it comes to when the working hours is done and you and your friends are going to hang out, then you can make use of casual language register. For another example, you're telling a story within the group of friends, and then in the middle of sharing of the story, the other friends wanted to interrupt you. It is natural and it is common. There is no hard feelings or any offensement with that because it is what usually happen within the circle of friends. Okay? Last language register is intimate, non-public. It usually uses private vocabulary and there is a high level of intimacy. Examples, married couple, husband and wife, girlfriend and boyfriend, parent and child relationship. Okay, let me ask you, within your family, do you have a special code, or within your the circle of friends, you have your special code that only you can understand? Mom, we have. When my mom would say belt, okay, belt, what does it mean? It means we have to finish the dishes already. Okay, that can be considered an part of intimate language register. No, but it doesn't sound intimate. As long as you have the relationship already, the relationship, intimate relationship already, it is still considered an intimate language register. Okay? But in intimate, take note, intimate language register can be a language of sexual harassment because being intimate to someone is closed within someone you're very, very close with. You cannot be intimate with someone you don't know. It's, for example, you're inside a jeepney and you keep on staring at the person in front of you. It may deliver a message of harassment, sexual harassment. Others might think that you're a pervert. So you really have to be careful when you're going to use intimate language register. Okay. Also, in using language registers, we can move from one register to another as long as it is the adjacent level. For example, when using intimate language register, going to shift with casual language register, it is okay, but it is hard to shift from formal language register to intimate language register. Okay, let us think of the adjacent level of register and moving from one register to another. Another thing is the use of language register can identify our credibility as a speaker, and it can also be our way to enter the business world or a more corporate world because people will trust us. Our linguistic capability is very visible. At the same time, it will speak to the language that we use, the language register that we use will speak for us as a person, the educational attainment that we have, and the kind of worker that we are within the work field. Okay, for the activity, I'm going to ask my students to form a group of four according to the first letter of their name, and they have to provide a communicative dialogue for each category. I'm going to give them 5 minutes for preparation for a 2 minutes presentation. Here is the chart. Under the category of greetings, requests, encouragement, complaints, and partings, they have to provide frozen, formal, consultative, casual, intimate language register, communicative dialogue. Another activity, they have to determine the language register used on the given video clip. Those students who are going to participate on this activity will be given additional recitation point for that particular meeting. Here are the videos. I only have 5 videos for each language register that they have to determine. For the evaluation, I'm going to ask my students to divide the class into 2 groups composing of 16 members each group. They have to perform a short talk show program, and the use of different language registers must be visible. Within the 5 minutes preparation for a 10 minutes presentation, I'm going to give them a rubrics for them to follow. They have two topics that they can choose. What are the issues that millennial students are facing right now? Strategies for ineffective learning in an online class setup. Okay, here is the rubrics. And for the individual activity, I'm going to ask them to answer the following comprehension questions. Why do you think it is important to know language registers? How would you know what register to use? How does language reflect the society? How important it is to know when and how to move between registers? And lastly, do you believe that language is power? After 5 minutes of answering this individually, I'm going to call some students to share their answers orally. And then, any questions, comments, students? So let us repeat 5 language registers that we can use in different situations, considering who we are talking with, where, the topic, and the purpose. Frozen, formal, consultative, casual, and intimate language register. Okay, any question, comments? Okay, no more? Okay, let me conclude the discussion for today. That's all. Thank you so much.